I am Melanie Browning with Spotlight, and today I'm super excited to bring on Emmy Award director and Emmy-nominated editor, Krystal Alexandria. So as she joins us here, I'm very excited. Here she is. Hello, Krystal.
There you are. That was super fast. You're right here. Welcome. How are you doing, Krystal?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, can you go ahead and give a background as far as where you're from, how you got here, and what you're up to these days?
Well, I am Australian. I was born and raised in Cairns, Queensland, Australia, and I moved to Florida in 2015. One big little important thing about me is that I'm profoundly deaf. So I wear Cochlear Implants on both ears, and I do not sign. So I rely heavily on verbal communication and sometimes lip reading. And so what I do is I edit shows and films. So that's one of the reasons why I moved to America, is to get more opportunities. And right now I am a full-time freelancer editor, and I love my job, and I get to meet so many wonderful people like Melanie on here. I recently won an award for an Emmy on a documentary that I worked on. It was a huge honor to work on that. So here I am.
Awesome. And that was a documentary called We Kept America Great. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the one.
Awesome. Wonderful. Great job. And I'm super excited for you. One of the things that I love getting into and asking guests is about like really what inspired you to go into film? Do you know, as far as especially like the film editing, I don't know of too many people that are like, I want to go be an editor. So can you share that story with us here?
Well, how I even like thinking about film is that I grew up loving watching films. It was my way of learning how to listen to people, because when you're growing up, you learn to hear. And I had to do a lot of speech therapy and stuff. So I was watching films, like understanding with the subtitle, just teaching myself how to like understand English. And in a noisy environment, obviously you have music and stuff. So I was like, maybe I should be learning how to do that, like how to create a movie, how to like share people's stories. And when I came to America, I was like, I don't know which role to focus on. So I thought a role that doesn't involve with a lot of people, because I tend to get struggles with group conversations. So as an editor, I thought I'll be alone with a computer and just edit by myself. And no, it doesn't happen that way. I actually talk very closely with a producer or a director, sometimes a DP. So it's very interactive. There's like a lot of emails and communication. It's just a lot of communication back and forth, getting the best vision that we can get of a film. So it kind of backfired me a little bit, but it actually helped me step up my game, especially with my hearing. So it was definitely a big learning experience for me. I had a lot of support, which really helped a lot with, growing as an editor and just getting better at it.
Now you've done a lot of different things, at least like from an outsider point of view, looking at, coming to America to pursue film and, just moving forward, pushing forward, winning an Emmy. Like those aren't small tasks to push forward to. What has created that within you to be able to stretch yourself?
So like, what did I do to strive higher in the goals that I just did?
More specifically, like, is there something within you or habits now, maybe looking back, that a characteristic within yourself that has you stretching yourself, and like how we really came about and you're moving forward and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable and pushing yourself in that regard? What is it within you that you think allows you to do that?
I see. I think one of them was strong work ethic. And what's the word? I guess, passion and determination, like striving for yourself to do better. Like you want to constantly improve yourself. I do a lot of like personal development as well. So I read books that helps with like confidence and how to communicate, how to work with different personalities. Because in film, you're working with many types of personalities. It's unbelievable. So there's just like little things that I'm constantly learning and teaching myself. Okay, this is what I need to do. And because the family I had when I was growing up, they're small business owners. So I watched my family working in business, striving for success. And I think that's part of it. Just mainly strong work ethic. And also because I have a disability, I was constantly working harder than everyone else, finding ways to be better, because sometimes you might not feel good enough because you don't have the perfect hearing, as everyone has normal hearing, which I don't when I was growing up. So I was constantly, okay, I need to do this and this so that I can understand you properly, which is lip reading, watching your body language. So it's just constantly like analyzing what's going on. And that's how I get by.
That's very impressive. Wow. Beautiful stories. You've mentioned before, I've heard you talk on other things about the power of networking, and that's really helped you pursue your career. What exactly, are there any specific things that you can share that has helped you with networking, and what tips what's like your best networking tip to those watching and myself?
Well, it's funny because as soon as I mentioned I'm Australian, everyone wants to talk to me like, oh my God, I'm going to go there. And that's how you start up conversations. I try and find something that will connect us. So if I know that you love basketball, I would bring up basketball just to get that little connection and get that click between us. Then you'll feel like, okay, I like her because we talked about basketball together. So that's how I establish that relationship before I start asking, hey, do you need me for your project? I would try and offer, what can I help you? How can I help you? And to give value before you take, I don't know what you mean, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So usually when you go to networking events or panels or anything that's film related events online or in person, you should always introduce yourself to everybody that you see, especially on a film set. You should always say, hey, hi, my name is Krystal. I'm the PA or the editor. And then you just introduce yourself to make your face known. And that really helps when you meet that person later. Say, hey, I remember you from that film set. And it becomes easier connecting with people. And also, like, if you're doing cold emails or just following up with the person that you met from networking, always follow up. Because sometimes everyone's busy. Sometimes you just miss the email. So you always follow up until you get that connection that you need. Because following up really helped me a lot in the networking.
That's awesome. I like how you mentioned, you mentioned stuff about yourself and you listen to what they're doing and trying to find that connection. And that's so important, to be able to be open. And because that's really what the true connections are formed, that way, by being able to find what really resonates with each person. So I absolutely love that. And that's got to be how we were connected, because I know we have a mutual friend, Brett D. Scott, and with me sharing my experiences and stuff like that, and seeing what he's involved in, and then I'm sure it just naturally comes together that way. So it's so super powerful. And yes, the following up, once you do that, when you follow up with someone, they're more likely to remember you, like, oh yeah, we both like basketball.
Yeah.
So that's super awesome. Great tips there. Now with the goals that you have, and you mentioned you do a lot of different reading and stuff like that, do you have any specific ways that you pick goals or that you go after them?
That's a very good question. I try not to focus on awards, because award is award, but I use that to strive for higher expectations and level of production. Like, I remember when I wanted the Emmy, I was like, I want to manifest an Emmy award. So how that happens is that I attract projects that could be worthy for the Emmy Award. So I try and ask myself, is this worth the project to work on? And that's how you attract the right people in that project too, which is why my goal was to win an Academy Award. So that helps narrow my focus. Okay, this is where I want to go. So I need to agree to certain projects that could reach that goal, and that will push away the I don't know, I shouldn't call it maybe bad projects that are not learning experience for you or are not healthy for you, because you might have people who are like to abuse your skills, just almost nothing. So I try and attract professionals or people who are trying to be professionals and want to be better at their job. And that tends to, and also I try every year, I try to go a little bit bigger every year. So if I did one feature film last year, I'll try and do 2 this year. And that helps just like slowly build up your path, I guess.
Now, is there any, there's certain things that I go through, and when I'm thinking of different goals, I'll have like a goal in mind and then kind of like I'll think of things in that range. And then when I hit on something, like I almost feel it, like it's like connected to me. Do you have any pattern like that? Or is it you just know, okay, I did this year, and then so I'm going to double it, or I need to increase it somehow? Or do you have any type of way of like that? I know everyone's different.
Sometimes like it does click, like as soon as I see something, like, oh yeah, I have a feeling that I need to do that. Yes. So I totally, yeah, whatever you said, yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Awesome. So cool. What do you do when fear-based thoughts do start to creep in?
What do I do when fear? Well, I would think about my purpose, or I would think about what I'm trying to show others. So like, for example, for this interview, earlier today, I was like, why did I do this? Why? Like you're excited, just like, why? So I said, no, I need to do this. I want to get better on camera. I want to share my story. I want to inspire other people to follow their dreams. So this is part of my purpose of why I'm doing this, and just to like make everyone feel like I'm like you. I'm used to we're all going through something personally, and trying to strive for success is hard, but yeah, there's always a way of doing something. And every day I'm trying to like overcome something that I'm uncomfortable with, and which is why also I created a club on Clubhouse called Getting Comfortable with the Uncomfortable. So every day we're always going through something that we do not want to do, but we do it, and it becomes easier every time. Like with these interviews, I notice that every time I do an interview, it gets slightly easier. I still get a little nervous, but it's starting to get easier to talk on camera. So it's just like little things. Yeah.
And that's so important, like for people watching and for people from the outside. I know, like when I heard about you and I heard, oh my goodness, she's an Emmy Award winner, and she's also Emmy nominated as well. And like, you know, it's certain assumptions, like you've got everything made and you've got everything. And then when I started watching your videos and you were talking about how you're doing live videos more to face the uncomfortable and get comfortable with the uncomfortable, like it was really like, oh yeah, we all have these things, like duh, that's why we're doing them, you know, and that's why we push ourselves. Everyone has something that they're dealing with, and we never know who has what, who's dealing with what, and what we can learn from other people and be inspired by other people. So that inspired me so much more, just going, oh my goodness, she's doing these lives. You went in the Clubhouse, and that invited me into the Clubhouse where I knew nothing about. I was really just avoiding it. I was like, shut up that wall. Like, I don't need that. I don't need any. And it was just me not wanting to face the uncomfortable. It was like a whole new thing. And so thank you for pulling me out of that shell and getting me over there. So thank you so much for that.
Of course. Hey, you're doing this right now. You're live on Instagram. I mean, you have no, I think everyone's going through anxiety in our head, like wanting to bail something, but we don't, because we just do it and then worry about it later. And I gotta give applause to everybody who does all this, because if you don't do anything, nothing's going to happen, right? So we're both here today together talking about different things and learning different things and showing others that, hey, anything is possible.
And you've got to grow. Like, are you finding that it gets easier and easier doing like a specific thing, like the lives that you're doing, or even coming on this interview? I know you're probably a little bit nervous, but how much better, or is it the same as the first live interview you did?
I think it's a little easier, but since I know you before this interview, I think I felt more relaxed than other interviews where I never met the interviewer. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that it is getting easier because you're constantly saying your story over and over again. Yeah. Not in that way, but like there's always something new to add to your story. And it's like practice. You just got to keep practicing, and before you know it, you're great at it. And obviously it depends on the topic too.
And then once you get great at it, then it's time to find, all right, what's the new challenge?
Yeah, maybe go on the stage.
Yes, absolutely. That'd be awesome. Now, you've mentioned before, and I heard you talking about, I believe it was in Clubhouse, about how you've faced burnout before. Mm-hmm. What do you do now? It was good that you recognized the burnout that you were in. How have you changed, and what have you adapted to avoid or lessen that and bring some more balance into your life?
Yeah, burnout is very rough. The first one really scared me a lot because I thought I was doing fine, and then boom, it just like hits you so hard, where you just like it's really dark. That's what I could say, like, because you just don't want to do anything. How can I prevent it, or what do I do to prevent that? I try to not overwork because I'm a workaholic, so I just can't stop working. So I had to teach myself, okay, the cutoff time is 10 o'clock. Any later than that, I have to wait till the next morning. I just do little things. Sometimes I can't stop at 10 because of the deadline. I would work till the next morning to make sure it's done. I try and plan going outside, like try and plan activities to make myself get out of the office. Take longer lunch breaks, talk to a friend. That really helped a lot. Hang out with a friend, because you're putting yourself away from your job, and it's just being present with another person without anything you're worrying about. And try to say no. Try not to overbook yourself, because that's what happened, is that I overbooked myself. So I would work longer hours and days to keep up with the demand. So I started bringing on assistant editors to help me with the workload. So, hey, you do this, I will do this. And then that way I'm not working 14 hours. I'm working, a little less hours.
Working smarter, not harder, right?
Exactly.
I love the part where you talk about connecting and getting away from work. And I've found, and I've talked to other people, that like when you're in it, you're just there, and you need that pattern disrupt to shift out of that, because everything else is going on around you, and you're not seeing it. You're not there because you're so hyper focused. And it just takes that walking outside to go, oh, these leaves are lovely, to just remind yourself that there's all of that in there. So that's beautiful. And many people here, I'm sure, can relate to that, just loving to work, loving to move. And it's something so powerful. And when you have, that driving force of going after something, and then you hear about other projects that are super exciting, and you just keep saying yes to. So yeah, it's really important to become more self-aware and put in checks and balances for yourself. So for me, the hardest part has been recognizing those needs. So, and that's another good reason why it's so important to have friends, because your friends can call you out and say, no, you need to chill out, or you need to answer my phone calls when I call you more often. So
yeah. I mean, even with if you can't connect with your friends, like with COVID right now, you can't I'm sure some states you're not allowed to see anybody. I also noticed that exercising really helps a lot, like yoga or gym exercises. That really helps because you're using your, it's all about health as well. Part of it is mentality is also affecting your health. When you're stressing, your body doesn't know where to put it. So it makes it harder to get out of your bad feelings of lack of social. And like you said, seeing your friend makes a whole difference in your work life.
Yeah, so much different. Like I've been riding this high lately because my friend came over yesterday. I got to see my friend and we visited. That was super awesome. And I've finally gone back to the gym, and that, like, the gym is my place. I absolutely love it. I've missed it for a year. I don't know how I survive. Well, I do know I have amazing friends that I've been able to see and connect with over the internet, and that's the only way I survived. But even with all of that, like, it's really been a drain. And I've been able to work out and here and there, but there's something about that environment I absolutely love. You know, everyone's there. Like you're saying, you know, working with people that are really wanting to do the best. I feel when I go to the gym, you know, people are there to improve their health, and I'm just surrounded by that. So that environment's super beneficial. So I think finding those things for yourself are really important. So that's super awesome.
And it takes time too, because sometimes you might know if it works for you. It might work that time, but next time it might not work for you. So you have to like constantly like, okay, this doesn't work for me. This works. Even like cooking can help like center yourself. But yeah, it's just so many different things. You just got to play around with it.
That's a good point, to play around with it. Yeah, because there have been times where you try something and like almost go into a panic, like, no, this is supposed to work. But yeah, playing around and trying something else and seeing what works. That's a very good point. And let's see. Aaron says hello.
He's from Australia. We went to college together. Hope he's
awesome. Well, hello, Aaron. Welcome. Okay, so I think that's pretty much there. What are you working on now? What do you have going on in the future? Can you share with us? And where can people reach out to you and connect with you?
Right now, I am, I'm trying to remember what, I'm working on a couple short films for a competition locally in Florida. And I recently went to North Carolina to shoot a couple commercial videos for NCAT University. It's like the largest African-American college in the state. So it was really an honor to be there and do the project with them. And I might be, well, I am going to Alaska in June to work on Gold Rush show as a DIT. So it's a really cool honor to go there and check out Alaska while I'm doing a really cool show. I think that's all I have right now.
That's something else. Like, how many, okay, when did you come to America?
When? I think it was 2015.
Okay. And how many states have you been to already?
25.
25. So will Alaska be 26?
Yes.
It's a new one for you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm slacking. That's all I've got to say. I love your spirit. I love how you go after things, and if it's something you want to do, you do it. So that was something else we were talking before, and it just jumped out to me, and that just really is a good testament of who you are and how you look at things. So it's super awesome. Now I do have a couple questions for you that are a little bit, kind of random, but that's how I am. So, what do you miss? And or what do you think people need to do or see in Australia? And your buddy Aaron, you can jump in there and help out too.
Okay. What I miss? My meat pies.
Meat pie. Explain what
Yes.
a meat pie that is.
It's like
please.
Pastry. It's like chicken pot pie, but way better in Australia. Sorry.
No.
The meat pies and the sausage rolls, especially spinach and cheese. Oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever. Like I would go to a server, which is a gas station, and get a spinach cheese sausage roll. I'll be in heaven. I miss quick access to the beaches. The last house I lived in Australia was like 5 minutes from the beach. So I would walk my dogs to the beach, and it's beautiful. It's like every exit on the highway has a beach, whereas in Florida, you have to drive 1 hour. And it's like, what? What else do I miss? I miss driving on the left side of the road.
What was that? Well, you came here and were you driving back there?
I was driving the left side, and then when I came here, luckily I was only driving for 3 years. It didn't take me too long to adapt, but my parents, the horror stories I hear from them, I'm like, oh my god, I had to like go over the island, and I'm like, man. I remember I wanted to go buy a car, and I'm a manual car driver. So when I came here, the driver's seat's on the opposite side. So when I walked in the manual car, I sat down and I was like, where's the gear stick? And I'm so used to driving it on
with your left hand.
Yeah. So
shifting with your left.
Yeah. So I was doing my stick here and then the clutch on your left leg. And then when I came in the car, it was on my right side, and I was like, oh, my heart was torn. I was like, I love driving gear stick cars, and I was like, I am not ready. So I ended up buying an automatic car, and hopefully eventually if I get another car, I'll try and find a manual car, because
they're a little bit harder to find now.
Yeah, you guys love automatics. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's funny. That's super awesome. And okay, so now that you're here in America, what have you found to be your favorite food here?
Food here.
I mean, you're in Florida. There's got to be some good food there.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what I would never get in Australia. I would say Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Yeah. Awesome. Chick-fil-A. It's hard to say because it's been 4 or 5 years since I went back. So I can't remember what typical foods I always get. We don't have a lot of variety, whereas here you have like 50 different types of places to go to. And I was like overwhelmed with that variety, because in Australia we'll probably have like 5 or 10. You'll be lucky with 10 places to choose from. So here it's unbelievable. Like everything's bigger.
Yeah.
Like everything's bigger. Like if you like when you compare drink sizes, like our large is a small here. It's like, and everything's cheaper, and you guys have free refills. Like there's so many things. Oh my god, I could talk all night about what blows my mind about this country.
That's funny. I love getting the insights in different areas, and it's fun because I have a business partner that's Australian too, so I'll be asking him about the meat pies there. Real quick, what tips do you have for female filmmakers starting out or wanting to advance their career? Is there anything that jumps out, a key thing? So
that you have to help strive? I would say getting a mentor that really helpful. Like I have like 3 mentors I look up to, and one of them was from day one, and he saved me a lot of like mistakes that I could have made on set, and taught me like so many little things that will help become a better person on set. Having that knowledge, and also having that person to ask questions to, because you don't want to ask the director questions. You can just ask your mentor, say, hey, what would you recommend, all these things, and having that support, because it can be a rough day of work and you need that support because you're working 12-hour shifts, and you're working with so many different types of people, so you may have conflict with just so many things. I'm just saying, make sure you have your support. Have social media appearance online, because people do look you up. I mean, on Facebook, Instagram, even Twitter, LinkedIn, all those work sites like Production Hub, Staff Me Up, like have a social media presence so that when they look up your name, you'll be like boom, boom, boom on every site that you could think of for film related. Awesome. Yeah, there's so much you can do.
I love the mentor part. Just if you're looking for a mentor, make sure it's someone like, further along. And I think so often people get hung up in oh, I don't want to ask them because, you know, they won't have time for me, or whatever story we're going to wrap around it, right?
Yeah.
But if there's someone that really inspires you and you really feel that connection, reach out to them. And like you were saying before with networking, you know, how can I help them? You know, ask if there's some way that you can help do something for someone else, because you'd be surprised at the things that we, you know, have to offer. And yeah, but if go and ask, you know, you'd be surprised who says yes, because so many people want to help. They want you to be better, and so you can elevate the whole filmmaking process together. So beautiful, great tips.
If they ignored you or said no, just leave it alone. Maybe follow up later or find someone else, because I love to help people who ask me. Like, I'll be like, yeah, tell me. We'll go on a call and just ask me all the questions you want. That's what I try and do with my assistant editors. Like, tell them, like, hey, this is how I do it. You can take it, or you can just learn it in that way. If someone asks for that workflow, you already learned it from me. Yeah, you'd be surprised.
And that's a She TV Media, I see, was on here. I reach out to them a lot and ask questions, and with them and everyone else, it's like I can't think of a time where I've ever had anyone say no. And you know, if they don't have the time, they'll just say, hey, you know what, check back with me at this time. And you know, oftentimes they'll check back with you, or they'll give you at least resources to go to. Hey, go read this book, you know. So I've never just got out a flat rejection, you know. So it's reach out to those that inspire you, let them know that how they inspire you, and just definitely be willing to you know, help out any way you can, and don't burden them as well. Natalie, if I bug you too much, I'm sorry. But you're amazing.
I like what I'm hearing.
Well, Natalie's on here. I was bugging her yesterday, but she's super awesome. She never gives that impression, and you're awesome too when I reach out to you. So yes, mentors are wonderful. And where would you like people to go? What's your you also have Crystal Clear Media, is that correct, on Facebook?
Yes. I have a company called Crystal Clear Media. I have a great team with that we all collaborate together. And I have a website that if you want to look at my credits, but typically it's Krystal Alexandria. If you type that name in, you will see me everywhere.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to share? I'm so happy you were here to join me. This has been fabulous. I really don't want to let you go, but is there anything else?
Anything's possible that if you put your mind to it. I mean, I'm deaf and I'm working in film. I'm editing content that requires sound. I mean, there's always a way of doing something, and you're not alone. Just don't be afraid to ask for help. I asked a lot of help so many times, and I'm not ashamed of that, because guess what that lead me to? Being a better filmmaker and having that connection, knowing that I want to do better, and they love that because they know that you're trying hard, you want to do the best you can, and that's all we want to do. We want to make the best art that we can make. So. Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. And yes, Natalie, mentorship is so important. She says she has about 10 mentors. That's awesome.
Hey, the more the better, right?
Yes. And Jason says you are a superpower. I agree 100%.
Yeah, Jason's awesome.
Awesome. And CM Saria?
Always. Yeah, he says, what's your drive?
What's your drive? A good one.
Is that like same as purpose? Like, is that what it is?
It can be. Like my purpose drives me. And sometimes there can be smaller drivers too, whatever sparks it for you.
I would say, I don't know. I love telling people stories. And that feeling when you finish a project, when people watch it, it's a really good feeling. So I always try and like use that as a way to finish a project, and also to show that I've done the work. And because I'm representing the deaf community as well, I want to show that, hey, there's someone from that community is doing great things, and she's constantly learning. And so I'm trying to be that role model for them as well. So that's part of my drive. Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you for everyone that's joined live. And if you're watching on the replay, go ahead and ask questions as well in there, or share your story.
And if you have a story, if you're in the filmmaking industry and would like to connect and share your story, please reach out to Acting Like Melanie and contact me directly. Thank you so much, Krystal. Have a
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
night.
You're amazing.
So are you. Bye-bye.
Bye.